Hi Raunak,
Hi, Shambhavi.
how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good too. I'm doing very well. Thank you.
Good to be live with you today.
Yes, it's been so long since we've been live like together.
Yeah,
It's been so long
right.
since I have been live anyway. But I remember doing my first live with you. I think it was my first or one of my first lives.
Good to have that nostalgic feeling.
Very true, very true. Been so do we
So, Shambhavi,
yeah.
tell us, what are we discussing today?
So I was just waiting for some people to join. Uh, so yeah, today we'll be discussing, as everyone knows, and I did this live with Keisha where we announced that we now have an IELTS vertical. Like we have a separate vertical for only IELTS, where we have IELTS experts as tutors, people who've been training people for IELTS, or we even have people who have been IELTS examiners and very experienced people, especially for to cater to people who are planning to take their IELTS. And one of the questions that all of them gets asked a lot is about the speaking part of it, because people are very nervous when it comes to speaking. That's where the confidence, like, it drops down a little bit, because everything else is, if you're taking computer based IELTS, which is what most people do, everything else is pretty much like on the computer and virtual, and there's no human interaction. But as soon as it comes to human interaction, a lot of people falter, and that results in a lesser band score. So I thought we'll just take this up and ask our audience if some of them relate with it, and if they might have any questions or anything, doubts, queries, anything regarding that, we could answer those.
Definitely. And who will be a better person to discuss this if not you? You are yourself an 8 band scorer, right?
Yes.
So you can help our audience a lot.
I really hope to. I sincerely wish I can. uh, do we have, like, I there's something wrong with the chat, is what I think. But hi to everyone who's joined. Maybe I cannot see you. Maybe there's something wrong with the.
We have one hello from Ideal O. So
Yes.
hello and welcome to
Hi.
our live.
Hi. And hello to everyone who's watching it after this has been uploaded as a video on YouTube. Um, hello. And if you have any questions, you can put them all in the comments and we'll make sure that we answer those as well.
And it's a very sincere request from both of us and all of our Clapingo team. If you like our content, please give it a like, share it with your friends so that all of your friends and everybody can get the benefits out of it, and they can learn something new every time they watch us.
Yeah. Oh, we have a lot of people. Palash, Dr. Singh, Vivek, Pushpalata. Hi. So I think we can begin now.
Yes, definitely. And you can keep posting your IELTS related questions in the chat box. And we have Shambhavi here, an IELTS expert herself, so we can get all the answers out today.
Yeah, I really hope I can answer all the questions. But to everyone who's joined now, we hope to resolve your IELTS speaking queries specifically, because that's the part that makes a lot of people very nervous. And so we have come up with a set of tips and tricks that everyone should know. And we've taken most of these from the very agency, the very organization that conducts IELTS, which is IDP. So yeah, I hope to answer those, and uh, we'll also try our best to demonstrate that, like how, what not to do specifically when you're taking your IELTS test. Ronak, there are a lot of your fans, so would you like to say hi to them?
Yes, yes, please. They're both all of them are your fans as well, Shambhavi. Uh, Hi Dhanraj, hello Kalash, and there are a lot of people saying hi.
Yeah. Okay. So, Raunak, ever since I have started taking IELTS sessions, and okay, someone's asking what is IELTS. So IELTS is basically an exam that tests your English language competency. So it tests your English language skills on 4 parameters, which is reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And today we are focusing a bit more on the speaking part of it. Yeah. So okay. So ever since I started taking IELTS sessions, and there are these mock tests that we do in some of our sessions. Like after we know that a candidate has reached a certain level of, like English speaking, we conduct mock tests with them. And one of the mistakes that most of the learners make is that they give very short answers. Like, you know what I mean? For
Right.
example, if I ask you, where are you from, Ronak?
So I'll say, yes, ma'am, I'm from Delhi.
Yeah. See, that's the mistake that a lot of people make, because this is one of the questions that is usually asked most 90% of the times. In the introduction part, you will be asked like the basics, like where you're from, what do you do, what's your name, and they hope that you will elaborate on the answers a little bit. Again, the answer could be right or wrong, they don't care about it, they care on how you elaborate upon it. So if you just say, and for the first part you have 4 to 5 minutes, so you need to keep the conversation going. So you could just say, hi, I'm from Delhi, or you could say, hi, I'm from Delhi, which is also the capital city of India. I was born and brought up in Delhi, or I was born in that place and then I grew up in Delhi, or I came to Delhi for my studies. And so, the idea is just to basically keep building on that answer.
Right. And this, the second answer that you gave is actually a really good answer.
Yeah.
The tutor or the examiner will know a lot about you if you can not elongate, but just throw in a few more things about your answer. Add as much information as possible. So it also gives a hint that you are pretty confident with the language. You know the language. And if I'm just saying, oh, you ask me where you're from, and I'm saying, oh, Delhi. So that is not, that doesn't indicate that I am fluent with the language, no matter how fluent I am. That is a test that is a test made to see how fluent you are and how much vocabulary you have, right? So if you add 3 more sentences to this, it adds up a lot. It gives a lot more value to that answer instead of just giving one word answers.
Yeah. So someone asked, can I practice English by myself? Is it possible? Will my English improve? Of course, you can practice it by yourself. There are multiple ways that you can practice English by yourself. You can practice talking to yourself in the mirror, or you can practice recording your voice and then listening to it and re-listening. All of that helps, yes, but it's also very important to have someone who can assess it, who can tell you where you're going wrong and correct you. So it's just like a cherry on top, if you, because sometimes you may not know that you're making an error and you have no one to correct you, so you might keep repeating it. So yeah, it's always favorable to have someone to guide you, especially when you're learning a language, any language for that matter, not only English. So yeah. And someone is asking, how can we enroll in this? So you just need to go to the website. I think we'll put the link in the chat, ielts.clapingo.com, and you can take a trial class and you can subscribe with any of our IELTS experts there. We have a set of great tutors who are specifically dedicated for IELTS, who've been training people for IELTS for a long time. So, are there any more questions?
There's one about tenses, I guess. I can't see it right now. But this reminds me of one thing about IELTS tests and how people feel that if they use a lot of tenses in their answers, it's going to help them. But that's not the case. If you are a new learner, you are just started learning the language and your IELTS is in a few months, let's say, it's going to be a little complicated for you. So just focus on making, you can make short sentences, you can add more value in that case. But if you are trying to use all the tenses, all the kinds of tenses you learned till now, so that could be a little problem. So that's a complete myth that if you use a lot of tenses, so you will get better bands. If you are an advanced learner, you can definitely try saying things in different manners, let's say. But if not, you don't have to just push it. Just be natural. Relax. It's just a speaking test.
Absolutely. And this actually goes for anything that, like sometimes people think that if I use big and heavy words, that will fetch more marks. Of course, it's always nice to like show that you have more of lexical resource or vocabulary. But if you're not sure, if there's 1%, even 1% of doubt about that word, you really shouldn't risk that, because
Right.
the examiner knows the word. There are high chances that they know what it means. So
They're definitely going to know it, right? And maybe just, and it has happened sometimes with me as well. When I'm around really intelligent people and I feel like, oh my God, my vocabulary is poor, I don't have a lot of words to use. So I'll just try to use random words. But now I've tried to stop myself. It doesn't help, guys. It doesn't help at all. You must just have heard about the word and you were just trying to use it in those sentences. You might not know how to correctly use it, and it could be a big blunder.
yeah, in fact, it has the adverse effect. It's like you're trying too hard.
Right.
This will give the examiner the impression that you're trying too hard to sound better when you're not. When IELTS is all about being natural and just talking. So again, so Raunak, there are a lot of people that I've met who think that using fillers is a bad thing. Of course, repeated fillers is always a bad thing. But when you're speaking with someone, when you're in a conversation, it's only natural to use one or two fillers somewhere. And IELTS experts advise that you must use one or two fillers, because it gives, like, now don't start using fillers in every sentence, or you can try changing fillers. So for example, there's this one sentence. I actually even did a reel on this very recently. So if the examiner asks you a question like, what do you want to, like, why are you taking this test? So instead of saying that, like, I want to take this test because, like, it will help me in my further studies and, like, it will help me in achieving my dreams. So it's okay that you're using like, it's okay that you're using a filler. The problem is that you're repeating it too often. So if you could just try changing it, and you could say that, so actually the reason that I'm taking this exam is like, because, again, obviously, actually, there are a whole set of fillers that you can use. So it's obviously because I want to pursue my education in a foreign country, and then I want to come back. So, and then obviously, actually, so always try switching your fillers, if even like if you're using them, and try to limit them a little bit. Use fillers, but in some, like, limit the amount of it.
Correct. Also, there's another thing about these IELTS tests and how to correctly answer is the use of why. So, for example, if my examiner asks me that, okay, which one is your favorite web series? Because I might have mentioned that I like watching web series earlier. So I can't just say, okay, The Office is my favorite web series.
Yeah.
Is that it? So they will expect me to tell them a little more about it. So I need to answer the why of it as well. Just before asking them, before them asking me, I'm sorry, before them saying why is it your favorite web series, I have to mention that. I have to give that answer instantly with the question whenever they have asked.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So someone's asking, okay, sorry, Akash, you've asked this question too many times, but I just saw it. How can you join Clapingo as a tutor? Is you click on the web, like you go to the website and we have an option which says teach with us. And the application process starts there, and then the page will redirect you to the next process and further. So all you need to do is go to the website clapingo.com/teach with us, and you can fill out the application and see how it goes. Another thing that I've seen a lot of learners make, like another mistake that I've seen a lot of learners make is a lot, and it's not only about learners, also people in general sometimes equate fluency with the ability of being able to speak fast. So speaking fast is a good skill. Like, I mean, if you're fluent, you don't take a lot of pauses and you speak in a continuous flow, but don't do it very deliberately. I mean, the only key to cracking IELTS speaking and achieving a good band score is not to try too hard. So if you're deliberately speaking, for example, I'll just take a question from here. Idolco has answered Pushpalata's question. So I'll just, like, if someone asked me that question and I had to reply, just to show the examiner that, oh, see how fluent I am and I can speak so fast, you may ruin the whole exam. So I'll just narrate his answer, and I'll tell you the wrong way to do it and then the right way to do it. So if someone asks you a question, don't be like, so learn tenses and talk to someone on a daily basis and communicate with someone, and don't make, like, you know the answer, you're confident, you don't need to try too hard to make it seem so. So don't speak too fast. It affects your pronunciation, it affects your rhythm, intonation. So
if they do more wrong than the good that was intended, so it's okay to have a normal tone. Like you're talking to a friend, so it could be a simple speed of speaking, I should say. And we should not run.
Yeah, and you mentioned speaking to a friend, which is what IELTS is about. IELTS is not an interview. A lot of people treat it as an interview, but it's not. See, what's the purpose of IELTS? They are assessing that when you go to a foreign country, will you be able to converse with people? So they're not, they don't want any right or wrong answers. So, for example, if I ask you who's the Prime Minister of India, they don't care if I say Narendra Modi or if I say Shah Rukh Khan. They don't care about it. Or what they care is how I'm expressing it. I don't have to be right. It's not GK. It's not a job interview. So as long as I'm confident and fluent and I'm able to tell the examiner that Shah Rukh Khan is the Prime Minister.
This is hilarious.
Yeah. Don't do it. Don't do it. Please don't do it. It's just a joke. Please.
Please don't take this word as gospel. Shambhavi is just making an example.
Yeah, this is just an example. I'm a Shah Rukh Khan fan. I'm sorry. I just have to bring him up everywhere. But
if it were possible for you, Shambhavi, would you make him the Prime Minister of India?
Of course, without a doubt.
Great. All right. So, and another point that I remember is that you may not know the answer to a few questions. It is completely okay to let the examiner know that you don't know, but do not just say, "Oh, I don't know the answer to this," and sit silently.
Yeah.
You can
And
have,
don't give the
yeah,
wrong answers like I did. Be honest. But if you genuinely don't know the answer, and if what you know is genuinely wrong, they don't care about that. So don't think that if I say, for example, if you say you're interested in sports and they ask you something technical about cricket, you might know the wrong information and you might be nervous about it. But knowing the wrong information is not something you should be nervous about, because they don't care. They're not assessing that. So yeah,
right.
Raunak.
So you can try to simply divert the conversation, maybe, and maybe you can add on to something else that you know which could be related to that question, or just you can say simple sentences like, maybe I'm not the perfect person to answer that, maybe I'm not the correct person, maybe I need to do a little more research to get the answer for that, or maybe I'm also myself looking for an answer. These are just a few examples, and you can use things like that instead of just saying, "No, I don't know the answer," and asking something else. So it could be a
Absolutely.
better response.
Absolutely. So someone is asking, what is the, sorry, I lost the chat. Yeah. So what is the benefit of IELTS? So IELTS is a very, very basic requirement if you want to study abroad, or if you're looking for employment opportunities in foreign countries, or migration processes, anything. Um, so it's it's always a basic requirement, especially if you want to study or work in countries like Australia, New Zealand, Canada, UK, USA. So there are different kinds of tests. So if you want to study, if you're taking it for educational purposes, there's IELTS academic. And if you're taking it for employment purposes, there's IELTS general training. The format is different. So if you plan on enrolling at a university or college in any of these countries that I mentioned, or if you are applying to any firms or business organizations or anything, you will need to take an IELTS. It's also mandatory to take your IELTS for a visa from the government agencies in the countries that I mentioned. So if you want your visa, you will need to show them your IELTS score.
Right.
Yeah.
Another thing that I remember now is that uh, many of us might make a grammatical error while sitting in an interview, because maybe we are nervous, or maybe it's just the very first time we're talking to someone like that. So, first of all, you have to go there with a very calm mind. It's okay. It's just a speaking test. As Shambhavi said, they are not testing you on your knowledge, just that how you can converse with people once you have moved abroad. So you might make a grammatical error or two. It's okay. Do not just start over a sentence and correct with the correct grammar.
Yeah.
Don't go correcting yourself. It's okay, because you will become more nervous in that case. You might lose your train of thought. You might forget what you were trying to say,
Yeah.
and things might get a little messed up. So
Yeah.
it's okay. Just forget it and move on, like you do in any normal conversation.
Absolutely. And it's so important for people to know that it's not an interview, it's a casual conversation. So, one of the learners recently asked me what they should wear to their IELTS test. And he was basically confused if he should wear formals or casuals. The answer is always semi formal and not formal, because not an interview, guys. Again, it's just a casual for 15-minute chat that you're going to have with someone who's going to mark you on your English. So it's just that. Um, the other mistake, which is especially that learners do in part one, is that because in part two you have cue cards, so you cannot memorize answers. But in part one, there are a set of very common questions that they ask, like the basics, general information about yourself. And learners tend to memorize the answer. But as I've mentioned before, they want you to sound natural. They want you to sound comfortable in that language. So if for example, if Ronak asks me, "What's your name?" and tell me a little bit about yourself, if I've memorized it, it sounds very robotic. So I'll just be like, "My name is Shambhavi. I'm from Delhi. I'm 21 years old. I'm doing this. I'm doing that," and it's very monotonous, and it's very like the examiners have been doing this for a very long time, so it's very easy for them to catch that, okay, he is memorized, he or she has memorized the answer, and it's not uh, coming from, like, it's not coming naturally. But if you're again, fillers work very well here. So uh, like, if you've not like, fillers is again one of the indicators that this person has not memorized the answer and is trying to think of things to build on that
Right,
one sentence. Yeah.
right. That's a good one. And what now I have a really important one. As when I take sessions, I meet learners, and one very common mistake that I notice is people are translating from their mother tongue to English. That never helps. It will always bring more errors to your speech because the sentence structures are not the same for English and your mother tongue. Your mother tongue could be any language, but if you're trying to translate your answers and then
Yeah.
speak those in English, there are going to be problems. So you don't have to translate, and also it takes a lot of your time. So, for example, you have thought of your answer in your mother tongue, and then it will take at least a few seconds in your brain to process and translate to English, right? So, that is going to be an awkward silence between you and the exam.
Yeah.
So, don't do that. And you have just think in English, try and think in English. There are a lot of ways we have tried to help you guys through our Instagram content of how you can think in English. So you can go on and have a look on our look at our Instagram handle. There are a lot of reels where Shambhavi and I both have tried to put in some content for the same. But always remember, never
Yeah. And so, okay, I think we're past our time, so I'll just do this very, very important one, and we can conclude with our live, which is, so many people on our Facebook group, in the sessions, on our Instagram page, have asked, should I use British or American accent in the test? The answer is always a big no. Again, they're not testing you on your accent, and if you're using an accent which is not your natural accent, it just makes you sound, again, very fake and uncomfortable with the language, even funny at a point. So don't, accents are not important, they're never important. So as long as you're able to communicate your ideas through, it's it's enough. Don't try to deliberately speak in an accent which is not yours, which is not your natural accent. And again, like, the examiners are all Indians, so what's the point of inserting that accent unnecessarily?
what
So
I feel is that one only gets an accent if they're living in that particular area.
yeah.
So living in India, we cannot have a British accent. We cannot have an American accent.
Yeah.
And yeah,
But
so
people sometimes, even on our spoken English vertical, there are a lot of people who want an accent. And this is something that I always tell them, why? The whole purpose of language and communication is just to communicate your ideas through. And if the other person can understand what you're saying, what's the point of complicating it and
true.
bringing an accent in between? So, yeah, I think that's about it for today. Ronak, do you have anything to add?
Just that go there with a clear head. Do not go with your answers rote learned. That doesn't help. You have to be very natural over there. Even if you have learned that answer, don't put that out in a way that you just memorize it all.
Fillers
you
can
use
come in
fillers.
handy there. Yeah.
Right. There in that particular case. But don't have this
Overdo.
as a takeaway that, okay, Shambhavi ma'am said that we can use fillers, so we are going to use fillers in all our speaking
Yeah.
tests. No. It's just that you have to be as natural as possible. Don't overdo anything.
Exactly. Yeah. So if anyone has it, like, this is for the viewers who are watching this as a video on YouTube. If you have any questions, you can put them all in the comments, and we'll try to answer all of these questions. And we hope to come up with more lives catering to other other modules also, listening, writing, and reading. So stay tuned, and yeah, I think that's about it.
And like, share, and subscribe, please.
Yeah, like, share, subscribe, and yeah, I think that's about it. Have a great day, have a great weekend, and we hope to see you again very soon.
Bye bye.
Bye.